Welcome to Oak Tree Stories, timeless tales rooted in India. Here you'll find gentle, thoughtful tales drawn from our rich storytelling traditions, from ancient fables and folklore to heartwarming slices of modern Indian life. Each story is carefully chosen and lovingly crafted to be age appropriate and calming, with just a touch of wonder. So come, get cozy, and let the story begin. Hi, I'm Shalini, your storyteller. Before we begin today's story, I'd like to tell you about one of my favorite things that we do at Oak Tree Stories. Stories help us remember people, places, and moments that matter. That's why we create personalized stories inspired by the things children love the most. A favorite grandparent, a beloved pet, a family tradition, a special place, or even a memory you'd like to preserve forever. Each story is written especially for one child, making it a keepsake that families can treasure for years to come. If you'd like to create a personalized story for someone you love, visit www.oaktreebooks.in/Oak Tree Stories to learn more. And now for today's story. Have you ever made a promise without really thinking it through? Sometimes promises seem easy to make, until one day they come back to surprise you. Today's story is about a proud king who was certain that nobody could outsmart him, and a cheerful young boy who had a very unusual way of following instructions. Was Balu incredibly clever? Or did he simply take every word exactly as it was said? You can decide for yourself. This delightful tale comes from Maharashtra and has been shared for generations. So find a comfortable place, settle in, and let's begin. Long ago, in a kingdom in Maharashtra, there lived a king named Vijay Chandra. King Vijay Chandra was rich. He lived in a grand palace filled with beautiful gardens, sparkling fountains, and hundreds of servants. But there was one thing about the king that everyone feared. He took great pleasure in giving his servants impossible jobs. No matter how hard they tried, sooner or later, every servant would give up. And that was exactly what the king was waiting for. For before anyone could begin working in the palace, they had to agree to one very unusual rule. If you leave my service before I dismiss you, the king would say, your head shall be shaved completely bald, and from that day onwards, you must never cover it with a turban, cap, or cloth. The servants had little choice. Most desperately needed the work, so they agreed. One by one, they failed to please the king. One by one, their heads were shaved. And wherever they went, their bare heads reminded everyone of the king's strange and petty rule. The people of the kingdom whispered about it, but no one dared to challenge the king. One day, a cheerful young boy named Balu arrived from a neighboring kingdom. As he walked through the busy marketplace, he noticed something rather unusual. Many of the men he passed had completely shaved heads. Some were young, some were old, but none of them wore anything to cover their heads. Balu had never seen anything like that. Curious, he stopped an elderly man. "Excuse me," he asked politely. "Why do so many people have shaved heads?" The old man gave a sad smile. "It is the king's doing." "The king's?" The old man nodded. Then he told Balu all about the strange rule. When he finished, Balu stood silently for a moment. Then a smile slowly spread across his face. I think, he said, I should like to meet this king. The next morning, Balu arrived at the palace. He bowed before King Vijay Chandra. Your Majesty, he said, I have come looking for work. The king looked the boy up and down. So, he said, you wish to become one of my servants? Yes, Your Majesty. Then you must first agree to my rule. The king repeated the condition exactly as he had done for every servant before him. If you leave my service before I dismiss you, your head shall be shaved bald, and you must never cover it. Balu listened carefully. Then he bowed once more. Your Majesty, I agree. The king smiled. But, said Balu, I too have one condition. The king's eyebrows rose. You? Yes, Your Majesty. If you dismiss me instead, then your head must be shaved too. For a heartbeat, the great hall fell silent. Then the king burst into laughter. The ministers laughed. The guards laughed. Even some of the servants couldn't help smiling. The king wiped a tear from his eye. You are a bold boy, he chuckled. Very well, I accept. He was quite certain that this cheerful young servant would not even last a week. From today, declared the king, you shall be my personal attendant. Balu bowed politely. Thank you, Your Majesty. And so, Balu's very first day in the palace began. For the first few days, King Vijay Chandra gave Balu all sorts of difficult jobs. He expected the boy to complain. He expected him to make excuses. He expected him to give up. But Balu never did. Whatever the king asked, Balu simply bowed and said, Yes, Your Majesty. The king frowned. This was not going according to plan. So one morning he came up with a new task. Balu, he called, take my cattle out to graze today. Yes, Your Majesty. And when you bring them back this evening, the king added, I want every one of them to be spotlessly clean. Balu nodded. As you wish. The cattle spent the whole day grazing in the fields. They wandered through grassy meadows. They splashed through little streams. And by evening, they were dusty from the village roads, just as cattle usually are. Balu led them down to the river. He fetched buckets of water, bars of soap, and the biggest scrubbing brush he could find. Then he scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. Every cow was covered from head to hoof in thick foamy bubbles. The poor cattle had never quite had a bath like this before. They mooed in alarm. They shook themselves. Then they charged straight back towards the palace. Soap bubbles flew everywhere. The palace courtyard was soon covered in white foam. The guards slipped. The gardeners slipped. Even the royal cook nearly dropped a pot of hot curry. King Vijay Chandra rushed outside. What is the meaning of this? Balu looked quite pleased with himself. You asked me to make the cattle spotlessly clean, Your Majesty, so I washed every one of them. The king looked at the bubbling courtyard, then at the cows, then back at Balu. For a moment he was too angry to speak. But he could not dismiss the boy, not without keeping his promise. So he simply turned around and marched back into the palace. A few nights later, the little prince refused to go to sleep. He tossed, he turned, he wriggled beneath his blanket. The king, tired and sleepy for himself, called for Balu. The prince will not sleep, he yawned. Please rock his cradle until he falls asleep. Balu bowed. Yes, your majesty. The king returned to bed. Balu stood beside the cradle. He gave it a gentle push. Back and forth, back and forth. The little prince looked up at him with wide, curious eyes. He was still awake. Thought Balu. Perhaps I need to rock it a little more. So he pushed the cradle a little harder. Back and forth, back and forth. Still the prince stayed awake. Balu scratched his head. This is a very stubborn little prince. He pushed harder still. The cradle swung higher and higher until whoosh! The little prince tumbled onto a big pile of soft quilts beside the cradle. He wasn't badly hurt, but he was terribly surprised and he burst into loud tears. The king came running into the room. What happened? Balu bowed respectfully. You asked me to rock the cradle until the prince fell asleep, your majesty. I tried my very best. The king looked at the crying prince, then at the upturned cradle, then at Balu. His face turned bright red. But once again, he swallowed his anger, for he still could not dismiss the boy. That night, King Vijay Chandra lay awake in his bed. This boy, he muttered to himself, this boy will be the end of me. The next morning, King Vijay Chandra decided to give Balu another task. Go to the forest, he said, and bring back a large bundle of firewood. Balu bowed. Yes, your majesty. Off he went. By afternoon, he returned carrying an enormous bundle of wood upon his shoulders. Just then, the queen happened to be walking through the palace courtyard. She seemed deep in thought. Balu called out politely, Your Majesty, where would you like me to keep this bundle of firewood? The queen hardly looked up. Keep it outside, she said absent-mindedly. Balu nodded. He walked outside. A few moments later, he came back through another doorway, still carrying the heavy bundle. Your Majesty, where exactly should I keep the firewood? Without looking up, the queen replied, I told you, keep it outside. Balu bowed. He carried the bundle outside once more, then entered through yet another doorway. Again he asked, Your Majesty, but where exactly outside would you like me to keep it? Now the queen was beginning to lose her patience. For goodness sake, she exclaimed, just put it on my head. Balu smiled. As you wish. Before the queen could say another word, Balu dropped the heavy bundle onto her head. Oh, cried the queen. The bundle was far too heavy. She staggered backwards and sat down with a thump. Servants rushed to help her. At that very moment, King Vijay Chandra came hurrying into the courtyard. What happened? The queen pointed straight at Balu. I told him to keep the firewood outside. He just kept asking me again and again, and then without thinking, I told him to put it on my head, and he actually did it. Balu bowed politely. You told me exactly where to put it, Your Majesty. The king shut his eyes. He took a slow, long breath, then another. But still, he said nothing. By now, King Vijayachandra had had enough. He decided to visit his father-in-law in the neighboring kingdom. Secretly, he hoped to leave Balu there and never see him again. So early one morning, the king and his royal procession set off. Balu walked beside them, carrying a large pot of drinking water for the journey. After traveling for some time, they reached a wide river. The king climbed down from his horse. He folded his hands respectfully towards the river. Then he tossed a few shiny coins into the water. Balu watched quietly. When the king wasn't looking, Balu folded his own hands. Then he lifted the heavy water pot and tipped the entire thing into the river. Splash! The pot disappeared beneath the water. A little later, the journey continued. Before long, the king grew thirsty. Balu, he called, bring me some water. Balu looked surprised. There isn't any, Your Majesty. The king frowned. What do you mean there isn't any? I offered it to the river. The king's eyes grew wide. You what? Balu nodded earnestly. I saw Your Majesty offer the river a few coins for a safe journey. I didn't have any coins, so I offered the pot of water instead. I thought it was far more valuable. For a moment, the king forgot to breathe. Then he remembered the agreement. He said nothing. He simply climbed back onto his horse and rode on. By sunset, they reached the palace of the king's father-in-law. The king was exhausted. Balu, he said, ride ahead and tell my father-in-law that we shall arrive shortly. Yes, Your Majesty. And tell him, the king continued, that I am tired and hungry after the long journey. Balu nodded. I'll tell him exactly that. Off he rode. When Balu reached the palace, the king's father-in-law welcomed him warmly. Is the king well? He asked. Balu thought for a moment. The king says he is very tired after the journey. The old man looked concerned. Oh dear. Balu nodded thoughtfully. I think when someone is that tired, they shouldn't eat a heavy meal. They should probably have something light. The old man smiled. That is very sensible. We'll prepare some warm rice kanji and boiled vegetables. Balu brightened. As for me, he said, I'm not tired at all. I've only been riding. I think I can manage a proper feast. The old man laughed. Then a proper feast you shall have. When King Vijayachandra finally arrived, a steaming bowl of rice kanji awaited him. Beside it sat a plate of boiled vegetables. His father-in-law smiled kindly. Balu told us how tired you were. We thought a light meal would help you recover. The king slowly turned towards Balu. Meanwhile, Balu was happily enjoying fragrant pulao, crispy puris, rich curries, sweet laddus and creamy kheer. The king stared. Balu looked up. You look surprised, Your Majesty. I thought a light meal would be best for you. The king looked at his simple meal, then at Balu's overflowing plate, then back again. At last his temper burst. Balu, he thundered, I have had enough. You are dismissed. Balu slowly put down his spoon. He stood up and bowed. As you wish, Your Majesty. The king's father-in-law looked on in surprise. Then Balu said quietly, "There is just one small thing, Your Majesty." The king frowned. "What is it?" "Our agreement." For a moment, the king stared at him. Then he remembered the laughter in his coat, the confident promise he had made. His smile faded. The journey home was unusually quiet. Balu rode cheerfully. The king hardly spoke at all. As soon as they reached the palace, the king called for the royal barber. The servants looked at one another in confusion. Then the king said, "A promise is a promise. I dismissed Balu from my service. The barber will shave my head." The royal barber arrived. The king's magnificent crown was lifted away. One by one, his royal jewels were removed. Then the barber carefully shaved the king's head. When it was done, King Vijay Chandra looked no different from all the servants who had once stood before him. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he humbly asked, "Bring me the list, please." The ministers looked puzzled. "The list of every servant who has ever been punished under my rule." It took some time, but at last the list was brought before him. The king looked at each name carefully. Then he stood up. "Send word throughout the kingdom. From today, no one shall ever again be punished for leaving my service. And those who are made to shave their heads may grow their hair once again and cover them if they wish." The ministers hurried away. Before long, the news spread from village to village. People who had hidden from embarrassment stepped outside once more. Many tied colorful turbans around their heads. Others wrapped soft cotton cloths around theirs. Some simply smiled, not because their heads were covered, but because the king's strange and petty rule had finally come to an end. Balu watched quietly. Then he bowed to the king one last time. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The king looked at the cheerful young boy. After everything that had happened, he found himself smiling. Just a little. Perhaps for the very first time, he had learned that making rules was easy. Living by them was much harder. And from that day onwards, King Vijay Chandra thought much more carefully before asking anything of anyone. And that was the story of Balu and King Vijay Chandra. Some people say Balu was the cleverest boy in the kingdom. Others say he simply did exactly as he was told. Perhaps that is for each of us to decide. But one thing is certain. King Vijay Chandra never looked at his own rules in the same way again. Sometimes it's easy to make rules for other people. It's only when we have to follow those very same rules ourselves that we discover whether they were fair in the first place. If you enjoyed today's story, we would love to see what it inspires you to create. You can send us your drawings, paintings, crafts, costumes, Lego creations, writing, poetry, music, or any other artwork inspired by one of our stories through the art submission form on our website at www.oaktreebooks.in/oaktreestories. We will give you a special shout out in a future episode and share your artwork on our social media pages. And if you would like to support Oak Tree Stories, grown-ups can also make a donation through our website. Every contribution helps us continue creating gentle stories, inspired by the rich storytelling traditions of India. And don't forget, you can ask a grown-up to follow Oak Tree Stories on social media so you never miss a new story. You can find us both on Instagram and Facebook at Oak Tree Stories. This episode of Oak Tree Stories was brought to you by Shalini, Shannon, and Sushma. Until next time, keep listening, keep wondering, and remember, the fairest rules are the ones we are willing to follow ourselves.